Have you ever wanted what everybody else has? I never thought it would happen to me, but when I was young, I decided that I wanted to be like everybody else and have what they had. So I got my hair done with a perm and got an afro. I went to the store and bought some bell-bottom pants and some of those Nehru collared shirts. I thought I was being different. I thought I was being unique, but it turns out all I was doing was getting what everybody else has. In this week's episode of The Story, we see the nation of Israel wanting what everybody else has. And in a word, that's they all had kings as their leaders. So the people cry out to God and they want a king. We're introduced to a variety of interesting people as well. We're introduced to the priest, who is Eli. We're introduced to a man named Elkanah who had two wives, Peninnah and Hannah. Peninnah antagonized Hannah all the time and abused her verbally. And Hannah simply, after years and years of being barren, cried out to God with a simple request. She wanted a son. And if God would give her that son, she would dedicate him to God, to serve God for the rest of his life. And that's exactly what happened. She was given a son named Samuel. And later on, we find out that when the people do ask for a king, God asks Samuel to go and not only find Saul, but anoint him. So he does that, and Saul becomes the leader of his people. But the backdrop of the whole story is all the distortion that's going on in Israel. There's the distortion of phoniness. These two sons of Eli, we find out, Hophni and Phinehas, are just phonies. They're con men. And they're supposed to be religious leaders, holy and pure, but they lead the people down the wrong path. We see that there is a distortion of conformity. Obviously, the nation of Israel wants to conform to what everybody else is doing. We know, because we have the benefit of hindsight, that the New Testament tells us that we shouldn't conform to the pattern of this world, but we should be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And then, of course, there is the distortion of misrepresentation. When Saul was king, God gave him explicit directions to go out and wipe out their enemies. Totally eradicate them from the face of the earth, not get any spoils or anything. But Saul did not obey God's directive, and he didn't wipe out the enemies. He wanted to collect some of the spoils for his own collection. If we're going to be the kind of people that God wants us to be, there can be no distortion. We can't be phony. We can't conform to the pattern of this world, and we can't misrepresent God and demonstrate to the people that our God is a cruel God or that he's a greedy God. We know that he is a God of love, and we are his ambassadors. We are his representatives. And so I pray that we will no longer distort his word, but that our joy, our love, will be so genuine and real that we will be sticky, and that people will want to be attracted to us, and they will want to come to us because they can find a place where they will belong.